I am diving into the Monster Hunter series for the very first time. Join me on their journey to navigate the epic hunts and share the beginner-friendly tips and adventures.
All right, welcome back everyone. We're diving deep into something that I know every Monster Hunter fan is going to want to know more about, and that is the launch day weapon updates for Monster Hunter Wilds. So we've got Capcom's official notes on all these updates, of course, but for this deep dive, just consider this your one-stop shop for understanding how these weapons are changing.
Yeah, and you know what's really interesting is that Capcom seems to be aiming for this, more, they want combat to be more impactful across the board, every weapon.
Yeah, right. They keep using weighty and impactful to describe pretty much all of the changes. Yeah. And you know what else they're really trying to address? The whole friendly fire thing.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It seems like those accidental team hits are going to be way less frequent. Most weapons just have reduced friendly fire in general. But on top of that, they've added in the shockproof jewel so you can completely negate knockback from your teammates. Do you think that's going to make multiplayer hunts smoother? Or do you kind of like that little bit of chaos?
You know what? I'm kind of on the fence about that one. I mean, I think for the most part, yeah, it'll be good to have smoother hunts. But sometimes, I don't know, a little friendly fire keeps things interesting,
Yeah.
Maybe it keeps you on your toes. But anyway, I think we should move on to the weapon-specific changes, because there's a lot to go over. I think we should start with the insect glaive. So big news, the vaulting dance is back, which is exciting in and of itself, but it's not just like a nostalgia thing.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Each vault now increases your aerial attack power, so it's actually a viable strategy now. I mean, I think it has the potential to be a dominant strategy. I'm really curious to see if this shifts the meta for insect glaive users. I'm sure it will. And on top of that, they've buffed Descending Slash and expanded the benefits of the orange and red plus white plus orange extracts.
Wow, it sounds like insect glaive users are going to be just soaring through the air, dealing tons of damage. But let's move on to the lance. Big change here. Charge counter is back. And this is huge for lance gameplay. You can even guard while you're charging it.
That is a huge change. Oh, and they added a new spiral thrust. You can do it after a perfect guard or a power guard. I think that could lead to some really interesting counterattack possibilities. And they've also made power guard charge faster when you block successfully.
So it sounds like they're really rewarding skillful defense with the lance, which is a good thing, I think. Okay, now let's talk about the switch axe. So one of the biggest complaints from the beta was just how clunky the transition to sword mode was. But it looks like Capcom really listened to that feedback and they've addressed it.
Absolutely. They've made it much smoother, which should just make the weapon so much more satisfying to use. And it's not just that. They've also buffed various moves, including full release slash. It even has knockback negation now, which is a game changer for Switch Axe users.
Yeah, I mean, that means you can just unleash this really powerful move and not have to worry about getting interrupted. Especially useful for those larger monsters that like to, throw you around. Okay, moving on to the sword and shield. Everyone's favorite. There's some interesting updates here as well.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So you can now use Rising Slash while guarding, which opens up all these new combo possibility. And they've improved the parameters of your normal attacks and perfect rush. And they've made backstep and sliding swipe way more responsive. It's going to feel way more fluid.
Yeah, it sounds like they're giving sword and shield users more options for both offense and defense. So it's a pretty good all-around update. Now, let's get to the bow. Capcom seems to be doing some careful rebalancing here.
Yeah, it's like they're trying to find the sweet spot between power and fairness. So they've increased the attack power and responsiveness of normal and vax and arc shots, but they've toned down tracer shots.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, tracer shots were pretty strong in the beta. And they've also changed how focus strike targeting works. So instead of locking onto all wounds at once, it now locks onto them one by one, which I think could really impact how players apply status ailments with the bow.
Yeah, I think so too. It seems like they're encouraging a more strategic approach to using the bow, which is cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.